Welcome to another block chat. Today, it's a very interesting block chat. Every time I tell you it's a very interesting block chat, and you believe me, I don't know why. However, this time it's with Denis Petrovcic and Makram Hani, as usual. Much have happened over the past week. Today, we'll run you through very interesting stuff, which we promised you we will run you through. We'll run you through unstaking of a property, which will be interesting for everyone who's staked and everyone who haven't staked, because it will demonstrate to you some part of our system. How does it work? It will demonstrate for you, if you have a staked property, how to unstake and how to get your rewards. And it will show everyone in the community how does that work. At the same time, we will discuss what have happened all over the world over the previous week, which is very interesting in a way or another, especially that we deal with property. The back end of ours is property. Dennis, how are you?
Um, Doing well. Quite busy as you are as well, and there's a lot of these things that we're doing, and we need to also do the block chat every week. But I'm really glad we're doing it and trying to keep up with the weekly show because I mean,
No, we're doing it
there's
and
a
it's
lot of
not a
things going
burden.
on, right?
Exactly. There's too much going on. And when you look at the world today and what we're sitting in, we really feel that we're doing things that will impact people's lives, not only in the short and medium term, but also in the long term. Every time we meet an enthusiastic gentleman who really, or lady, who really know what they're doing and looking at, similar to the gentleman we had a meeting with today, okay, they really know what they're doing. They're really putting things together. They care about their community. They care about their industry. They care about their country and their city, and and their business, obviously. And you see them putting an effort to make tokenization work. Um, it's interesting. It inspires you again. So, Dennis, banks are falling apart. Some banks are falling apart. Now, we are advocates of no panic. Why? Because panic does not help anyone, does not help you specifically, that person whom you think you need to panic. Cool down. However, why real estate? I wrote an article some time ago about insolvent, so the state of being insolvent, and which is in general, you are not in positive equity, you're down under, or illiquid. And real estate is generally illiquid. However, if bought properly and leveraged adequately, with a balanced approach and a wise approach, it's very difficult to make it insolvent. Dennis, when people are able to diversify more within their investment because they go into um, tokenized property. In other words, it's more transparent, distributed over many more transactions, which is what we're trying to do with Ocean Point and people who would hold that. What do you see as a benefit to an investor and to a homemaker, especially those who are just trying to start their life and develop their wealth?
Um, well, as you said, I mean, when when somebody is starting with real estate, I think one of the most important things is to see to look at real estate that's kind of within reach, right, for somebody. And I mean that's how I started
Yes,
real
it's
estate.
possible to start 100% because most people say it's not possible for me to start. I need few hundreds of thousands to start.
Yeah, exactly, right. So that's I mean that's the first step, is being able to think of real estate. And many times you talk with people that do real estate investments for a living, or they deal with real estate investments for a living, and that's more your field here, Makram, honestly. And so you have much more expertise there. But I remember one thing, talking with you or one of your associates a couple of years ago back, um, um, that they have so many people um, who want to invest into real estate in Dubai, for instance, and they say, "Hey, I have you know, about 50K in savings on my bank account, and I'd really love to go and invest into a property in Dubai. And most times, this doesn't give you a quality enough property.
Every time it doesn't give you any property today. Any
And today it
property.
doesn't give you any profit, but it was a couple of years ago, it was the same, right? So having that minimum capital at hand to be able to invest in the right type of property, because even if you are able to find a property, it doesn't mean that that is a good investment. Not every piece of real estate is good. Actually, most of it is not. And that's another thing that that kind of is a challenge when it comes to crowdfunding, when it comes to thinking of tokenization. Will this attract quality enough deals? And if they are such good quality, why would this technology be even applied to those kind of assets, right? And these are all valid questions, right? So
And
I think,
today, I
yeah.
believe what when we talk tokenization, we're talking two things: digitization, which affect the efficiency as well as the transparency mainly. We're talking also fractionalization, which is making it attainable. Now, there's two issues with you needing to go into a property with few hundreds of thousands rather than few thousands. It's two issues, or a few issues. Let me not give it only two, because there's many others. One major issue is that you can't start early. You need to wait and wait and wait until you start. Two is, the idea of step entering that every value investor in the world talks about. You will not be able to do that, because if you need to build up wealth for a few years to enter, um, it's not always the best time to enter, and timing the market is very difficult, or actually impossible. I wouldn't say impossible, but I would say it's not wise to think that any one of us can really time the market, regardless of how professional you are at something. So, the ability to step enter over a period of time is very important. Now, aside of this, I want to really talk about self custody, because there's many times when we talk to people and they told us and they tell us, what, do you have a custodial service? And we say we are advocates of self custody. Now, if you were part of um, or held an account with Lehman Brothers when it fell, you would have wanted to have that money in your closet that day, or in your safe, rather than with Lehman Brothers. And that's self custody, guys. Simply. So self custody is the game, and is a big part of it. Now, when you are able to, if you're 20 today, when you're able to enter into real estate with every 50 or $100 you get, and then grow this with time. Yes, some of those purchases may be at the wrong time, or maybe a mistake, but it's similar to you buying an annuity in a way, yet there's no hidden charges here. And in general, with annuities, you don't really know what is the allocation you're going into, uh, generally. I'm not saying every time. However, here you do know where is the money going, because you can select the asset, you can select the country, you can select the market. Many times you can't. I have a neighbor, a very good neighbor, and he's one of my best friends. And he was asking me a few days ago, his friend is telling him, go invest in Bulgaria real estate. And I said, sorry, why? Do you know Bulgaria? No. Have you visited? Yeah, I passed by once. Really? And do you really believe that you have an edge in the Bulgarian market? You don't. And this is a major thing. So, your ability to go and spend 400,000 euros in that market will be a huge risk. But to spend 2,000 euros, if you believe that that market has a great future, maybe something good. And when things are systemized, when the whole economy or ecosystem is well established and mature, you'll be able to have the proper property management standards, because it's not about the property manager only. It's about the system behind it. It's about the standards that run by. And that's why, for example, you can't trust an accounting company, which is one of the big fours from the US, or maybe not one of the big fours from Germany, because there is standards. Yeah, if they're doing auditing, there's ways of auditing. One of them is sampling. They follow a standard, and it's generally an international standard. You need standards like that in property management and in the approach to asset management in general. And when those are established, you have an ecosystem that works well. Now, I've taken so much time talking about that, but that's something that I'm really uh, enthusiastic about and optimistic about and passionate about at the same time. So, uh, but this impacts everyone. So, guys, think about self custody. In our system, none of us holds your money. None of the companies will hold your money. You hold your money, you invest it, and you sell back and you get the money. So the money runs from you to you, you as a buyer to another you, someone else as a seller, or the other way around. And this is how things run using our ecosystem. Today, we'll show you a process, or we demonstrate for you a process of something that people started entering around 9 months ago now. It's 9 months. It's actually slightly more. It's 10 months ago for some people. For some others, it's 6 months or 7 months ago because we started it in May last year approximately as an initiation. And it's
Hmm.
staking. So tokenizing your property and staking it. We're still accepting, guys, people to come in, tokenize your property and stake it. There's much benefit in that. What Dennis will run us through today is a demonstration of how to unstake and how to withdraw your rewards. And will tell us some of the details of how it works and why it works that way. Shall we go for that, Dennis?
Yeah, we can. But before I switch on
Please.
the screen, right? Um, Another thing of when you mention self custody, just to finish that part of the conversation, is, and you probably mentioned self custody because this is some things that we get from potential clients or partners, marketplace operators that are looking into, partnering with us and running their own marketplace somewhere. And a lot of times we have the questions of custody, right? Because they obviously need to talk to the regulators on the other side, and the regulator asks, where are the risks? So the role of the regulator is kind of understanding where in the money flow there's potential risk for some kind of default or uh, not necessarily fraud, but some kind of issue with the monies that are involved in the process, right? Where
Where
is the
can
risk
an
for the
investor end
consumer?
up as a victim? Yeah, where can an
Exactly.
investor end up as a victim? Exactly.
Yeah, and as well the safety of the technology. Is there some loopholes where it can be hacked, where somehow funds can be lost, right? And obviously, whenever you are looking into a financial solution, that regulators are quite familiar with Web2 type of companies, where you deposit money on a bank account of a company, and then that company adds some tags so that the balances show for each user, and they have protocols in place so that the money is safeguarded there and it cannot be easily transferred without authorization, etc. And looking from that perspective, you obviously are asking the wrong questions when you look into Web3 and a marketplace with tokenized real estate, where self custody is in its core essence, from end to end. And and here that non-understanding of regulators sometimes it's the barrier, for new businesses to emerge using our tech. But on the bright side, there's many people within the regulating bodies who do understand the premise of self custody that comes with Web3 tech. So I don't. I see this being an easier and easier conversation more and more than the other way around. And sometimes people want to have a solution that is a one button and that's it. And you can't do that. Unfortunately, people who are not familiar with this are gonna need to learn how to manage a wallet. It's as simple as that, because Web3 works where with you having access or you having custody of your funds. That's Web3 in its essence. Everything else it's something disguising to be Web3, and it is not. It's another middleman doing a service for you, to safeguard your funds. And the world is showing us that even the 15th largest bank in the US can make mistakes. And thankfully, the government made the decision to make everybody whole, except obviously the shareholders, etc. But it it's not a bailout, but it was a necessary step so that it doesn't create bank runs on any other system. And one of those was as well USDC, that was kind of within the Web3 environment for the last, for the past weekend. There was this discussion: is there going to be a bank run or not? And probably there would have been if they wouldn't. The FDIC wouldn't say that they will cover even amounts higher than 250K. So self-custody, this can happen essentially with self-custody. And if the subsystems that it uses are properly created. And yeah, that's kind of
This
my
this
two
can't
cents.
happen. This is what you're saying. This can't happen. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's similar to you having your money in your closet. Now, obviously, if you lose your money, you lost your money. If you put it in a closet somewhere and you lost the key, you need to break the closet. If you put it in a closet and you lost which closet is it in and which home is it in, that's a big. that's a big.
if you have
That's a
too many
big situation.
closets, right?
Exactly. Too many closets and too many homes. And your wife will
Yeah,
ask you which closet was it and whose home was it. So then you may lose your money. Otherwise, you have your money, it's in your closet. And that's what you need to think of with self
yeah,
custody.
yeah.
Perfect. Would you like, Dennis, that we run everyone through the process now?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. So we promised last time that we're gonna do either one or two, and one of those was you really wanted for people to see how to withdraw or how to unstake a real estate tokens of a real estate property that has been tokenized. Now, for those who are new to our community, I just want to say this thing that so far in the past 6 to 8 months, we had real estate owners coming to us to tokenize their own assets. And we, by default, minted 10,000 tokens, which represents 10% of the value of the real estate asset that's underlying it, to their own wallet. Why? Somebody would say, why would you do that process? You basically just we've digitized the value of their real estate asset and given it back to them, to the actual owner. Why? So that we can introduce them to a mechanism that they're not familiar with most of the times, and this is staking and earning rewards in Web3. Um, uh, and that process has been very educational for them. But it attracted some really, I would say, high net worth individuals as well to our community, who see that there's an ulterior goal to what we're doing. And here it's basically, this is something that we're doing. We said we're going to do it until we reach around 100 million worth of tokenized real estate, and then probably we're going to stop after that doing that process. Um, for within kind of the same mechanism, but some of these owners are now able to decide whether what they want to do. Do they want to unstake, which means retrieve the 10,000 BSPT tokens of their property, and with it unlock vesting for the rewards that they have earned. The vesting is 24 months, and they can gradually kind of pick up some of the BST and do something with it, maybe provide liquidity and create a new revenue stream by doing so. As we introduced liquidity provider staking, LP staking, just 14 days ago or so, a bit more. And or they just want to keep their rewards and that's it. Or they maybe, some of them will decide to maybe sell them, which will create a better entry point for others who want to acquire it. Or we will be starting to offer as well the ability for them to liquidate some of those tokens in exchange for DAI through Ocean Point's marketplace. And that process will then start generating real estate revenues for the DAO to use. How that exactly will flow, we will be explaining it on a separate M&A or a next block chat, for instance. Today, we just want to show some of those property owners how they can interact with the Ocean Point, the app. All right. So here, well, what I'm showing you here is a property that or wallet of a company that I own. I co-invested here in a property, a student accommodation with 32 tenants, a house in Ljubljana, in the city where I am. I invested traditionally equity and debt in the property about 4 years ago. The property itself, it's generating for the company something above 100K of the revenues per year. Always fully kind of sold out every year. Very nice cash flowing property, etc. And was one of the first that we've actually tokenized. And then subsequently also deposited for staking on Ocean Point. Now, this property will most probably be as well offered on the marketplace for anybody else to become a kind of co-invested in this property with us. Obviously, all the documentation, everything will be shown in the marketplace for our community to look into and to ask, and maybe we do an inside community session with people asking live about it at some point in time. Now, here the wallet is connected.
Sorry, Dennis, so here we've gone to app.oceanpoint, and
yes,
it's the Ocean Point app, guys, that we are on now. The
yes,
first thing you do is you connect your wallet from exactly where Dennis pressed here, and if you use the MetaMask or maybe a different kind of wallet like a Trust or any other kind of wallet, you connect that wallet, which was whitelisted for that account.
yes. So you have received tokens, and you probably already interacted with the application here with Ocean Point, and you were able to deposit. So now you will be able, obviously, to do the reverse process as well. Now here you will basically, you need to scroll down to the asset pool. And here in the asset pool, it shows you the balance, the value that you've staked. So 10%, this is valued at 95,000. So it implies a valuation of the asset at 950K. The share that it represents based on current value and what's the earnings rate, etc. So here there's, if you choose this, it will show all the properties that are in the asset pool for staking. But if you do choose here hide tokens without balance, it will just show the property on your wallet, right? So here some users have still like a timer on this side for the withdrawal, which means that you are not yet able to withdraw because there is a 6-month lockup period. A minimum amount of staking is 6 months. But if that period is over, you are then able to kind of withdraw it. And here you have your staked balance. Like I said, that this was the first property that we've tokenized on Ocean Point, and it has the token ticker BSPT OCN1. And the rewards that it earned so far, that it has been staking, it's 37,699 BST so far. Makram, what's the value of this today?
37,000 is approximately $4,900. However, if you try to sell the for 37,000, hopefully you will have a price impact. So call it around $5,000.
Okay, all right. So well, yeah, doesn't matter what the price is today, but I think it should be more, right? It should be like 10K almost, I think. But yeah, and with the liquidity pool that with the liquidity pool staking, etc., you now it's possible to exchange larger volumes of BST. So, but thankfully, this vesting period that we introduced will not be impacting too much, because people are going to be able to release this earned rewards over time, over a longer period of time. So here, basically, all you need to do is withdraw. This creates a pending transaction. You need to confirm it on your MetaMask or wallet that you are transacting with and connected with, and you basically just click on confirm. If you are connecting with a hardware wallet through MetaMask, it will require you to also enter a PIN code of sorts on the hardware wallet. Otherwise, it will just simply just need to confirm.
You know
Makram?
something, Dennis? Do you know something?
No.
I haven't looked at the BST price in some time. Guys, we do not really look at the token price. And I haven't looked at the token price since a very long time, as it seems.
Okay.
Okay. So, and that's why
All
there's a
right.
big difference between Dennis's expectations and what I was looking at.
Okay.
The token
So,
price today is 0.197, and that's without the price impact. Yeah. So,
okay.
oh, actually, sorry, 0.225. Guys, we do not look at the token price because we're not obsessed with that. But the difference is a huge. I believe, yes, you're around 10,000, actually slightly more than $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So,
Okay.
so now what happened is, with this transaction, what happened is, I will show you here. Just let me open it up. The withdrawal went through, and let me just open up this transaction. So sharing this tab. Can you see this, Makram?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
So
So
where Dennis gone is he pressed on the transaction in his MetaMask. He was able to go to Etherscan where it shows this transaction and all what happened on it and the time. It's time batched, obviously. Please go ahead, Dennis.
yeah, all right. So with the asset pool, now what we have is, here in this transaction that was confirmed, these tokens have been swapped back for the property tokens on the property itself. The rewards that were earned by the owner, the owning wallet, have been sent into vesting, into a vesting contract, and there's a 10% success fee for the marketplace operator, in this case Ocean Point. So right now, Ocean Point, as a DAO, everybody who's watching us has earned 4,000 BST in its from that process. And that's it. If there would be another marketplace operator, they would be this cut would go to them, and that's it. And that's how easy it is, basically, to unstake from
And now
your
the
property.
tokens, now the tokens, the 37,000 have not gone to Dennis.
No.
The 37,000 go into a vesting contract, and Dennis. Dennis will explain to us now what does it mean going to a vesting contract and how will he get those tokens.
Exactly.
By the
So
way, guys, anyone who unstakes cannot restake. So if you've taken this transaction out of the staking pool, you cannot re-put it. And the minute that you take it out, uh, you start unlocking those tokens, the reward tokens, and hopefully you can use them after that um, to stake liquidity and to provide liquidity to the ecosystem. Yeah. So Dennis, how will you get the rewards, and what does it mean 24 months staking vesting contract, and why? Why did we go through for a 24 months vesting contract?
so the the thing is that the vesting contract, how it vesting, what is vesting? Basically, it's a term that is used quite often in relation to company shares. For instance, when you have maybe a an option pool for early stage employees, for instance, and then you might have
So
a
that you can
period.
have a vested interest in the
Exactly. And here in this case, vesting is a period of time until the tokens that somebody is receiving can be utilized, can become go into their ownership, basically. So a vesting period of 24 months without a cliff means that if I need to receive 24,000 units in 24 months, I will be receiving 1,000 units per month, 1,000 tokens, right, per month. And this can be then distributed on a daily basis, hourly basis, because there's a blockchain running it, so it really can be live, and you can withdraw with every passing block. You basically can make a new withdrawal. It's not gas efficient, but it's possible. If it would be a 24 months with a cliff, it would mean that the cliff is basically a no withdrawal period. Like 6 months, you can't withdraw anything, but it already starts accruing the amount you will be able to withdraw after 6 months, and then until the 24 months hits the full amount. Now here, what we've done is in a way, moving cliff. So this cliff is basically governed by the governance board, which receives information on the real estate asset ownership if it's still in place as it should be. So if the real estate owner that started the staking process, it's still the real estate owner, so that there's no kind of double spending, let's say, in a way where you would start staking and then you would sell your property, and then after 6 months you'll still earn BST even though there's no value that you're actually own anymore, right? So there's a process in place to safeguard this, and this cliff is then lifted as soon as the governance board confirms and enters the transaction confirmation in the smart contract system. That kind of lifts this, and then you are able to withdraw as an owner. Now, for instance, the transaction we've made here, 37,000 BST, have started staking right now, like a couple of blocks ago, right? And no matter how long it will take for the governance board to process the lifting of the withdrawability of those rewards, the period, the 24 months already started going forward. So there's absolutely no worries for a real estate owner to worry about, oh, but my vesting will start later on because you guys are processing this a bit slower than I would like, for instance. So there's no issues there, but it is a safe net for cases where a property has been sold before the withdrawal from the staking contract. And if that would have happened, so if there's a case like this, it's designed the system that the rewards are not given obviously to the owner, but they are burned. They're burned from circulation, so it decreases the circulating supply. And even though it's, let's say, a gray spot or a dark mark on our processes, let's say, and our due diligence processes, it is still a benefit for the community, even though this would have been the case,
I
right?
wouldn't consider it a gray spot in our processes because at the end of the day, our process does not track the asset daily. It tracks it at the beginning and at the end of the period. So it protects the environment that we're in and the ecosystem from anyone abusing it. So
Exactly.
um, yeah, so but yes, if somebody has sold, it goes into being burned, and when it goes into being burned, it didn't benefit him, it benefited everyone else. So
Exactly.
actually he did good to the community and less for himself. So isn't it,
Yes,
this is
exactly.
how
You
it
want
is.
to turn a situation that's not necessarily good into something that it's still good for everybody else, right? Yeah.
100%. I believe what we've demonstrated today is a very simple way of doing it. And guys, I want to add one thing here, because again, not everyone is a crypto geek. When I was trying to do it first time, I said, okay, you know what? It's costing me so much money in gas fees. And then I called Dennis, my man, how should I reduce my gas cost? And then Dennis said, you know what? You can reduce your gas cost by going onto a Ethereum average gas cost price tracker. So you go to Google and you say that, and the first one that opens for you is a Y charts, and Y charts has a chart that runs you through the gas cost of that day, and you know which one is low and which one is high. So what I would advise you is track it for a few days, because rather than paying $100 for your transaction, you can be paying $20 for your transaction. So it's not bad at all to have it on sale on that day, rather than overpaying for a certain day or doing that transaction on a certain day, because you're not time bound to a certain time. So we've run you through that. This is as complex as it gets, guys. It's pretty simple. It's meant to be a very simple process that everyone can live and everyone can benefit of. We'll be sending this demo as it is to every community member who have staked, tokenized, and staked, so that they can unstake using this. And we're so confident that this will help them do the needed. If you haven't tokenized and you haven't staked and you haven't been able to win and get a reward on top of your rent. Dennis did not lose his rent over the past period of time. He got 37,000 BST tokens, which is equivalent in today's price, which I had no idea about at the beginning of this chat, around $10,000. If you want to do the same, contact us today. You have the opportunity to tokenize your property. We tokenizing it on our account, and that's most important. And it won't happen forever. Blocksquare will only pay the costs for a certain period of time, and after that, which we're incentivizing everyone who's not part of that movement to become. After that, people will be tokenizing on their own cost. So if you would like to do that, contact us. It's a very simple process. You think it's complex, it's very simple. If you haven't gained anything after this process, you would have gained getting introduced to the future in a very simple way. On top of that, earning 37,000 BST or so, whatever is the value related to your property. And at that time, because you know the rewards and the reward pool also is changing in its
Yeah.
how it's distributed.
Here,
So
here, I must say one thing. This was the first property we gave, I think, 48 hours to everybody who had tokenized properties before the launch of version 02 to deposit, and then the rewards started in, so that it was fairly distributed as much as possible, the reward pool, but it was still quite high at the beginning because we didn't start with 50 to 53 million worth of real estate that was tokenized. At the time, I think we had the goal of reaching something like 10 million to start with, I believe, or maybe 15. And then we started the process, right? And it grew into more only afterwards. And we still have people who have tokenized with us very early on, but were distrustful of what we're doing, honestly, and they didn't stake. And and they see that
I see what you're telling them in your head. God
yeah,
bless you guys. Yeah,
you
it's not
know,
that. Why let Dennis have $10,000 more? You could have had it if you've done
well,
that
it's not.
process.
This is not. Honestly, this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
not
yeah.
my
I
money to
see.
have. It's the money of me and the co-investors in the property, right? And it's going to be
Yeah.
used for providing liquidity as a company to Ocean Point,
But you still
because
could have
Ocean
done
Point
it.
is going to
You
give
prevented them
the
from
company
getting this.
because the Ocean Point is going to give the company liquidity through its community to invest in new properties and continue the flow, and that's it. And everybody wins basically. So that's the strategy of this particular company that we unstaked the property from, increasing
So,
its own
guys,
portfolio.
come and stake if you own the property in your personal name or a company name. Feel free to get in touch with us at any moment of time. Um, Dennis, any last words to our community?
Now I think it's been an amazing 14 days for everybody in the community, and I hope we just keep on going. That's it. If you know anybody that owns property, send them our way. I think they won't be disappointed in the end.
Not only will you be helping them, you'll be helping yourself because you will also be benefiting of that as a member of the community,
Yeah.
because every member of the DAO will be eventually benefiting of that. Thank you so much, everyone, for being present with us today on another block chat with Denis Petrovcic and Makram Hani. We've showed you how to unstake and get rewards of your property today while retaining all your revenues. Have a good evening.